Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Game Junk Podcast, episode 164, recording on Sunday, September 10th, 2023. My name is Frank.
My name is Sean.
And my name is Andrew.
And in honor of the release of Starfield, we're going to do our top 5 space games, or games that take place in space. Perhaps this is a little too nebulous to pinpoint what can go on this list, but we're going to take our best shot at it. How are you guys doing?
Great. Ready?
Doing pretty good.
I struggled with this list, I must say. I was talking to you guys before the show. I could have put 16 games on this list I was trying to debate between. So I had a big selection to choose from for this one. So I'm excited.
I can already see Sean's got these mischievous eyes, which you can look and see for yourself on youtube.com/game junk if you want to see what I'm talking about here. But Sean's lists are always pushing the limits of what's acceptable within defining parameters.
This one's pretty straightforward. Although I will say, I tried to set some kind of criteria for myself, being that it's more about exploration and actually traveling in space in some way, although I don't know if they all really fit that, but
that was my thing. I need to see stars or interplanetary bodies or something like that. And although you don't really fly a ship, but your body is in space at some point. So I think all of mine fit.
I wonder what that could be.
My number one is probably the most suspect one, but we'll get there. Okay. Anything else we need to talk about? Everyone's first week back at school. Everything's good.
Great.
I could do a little film junk-esque diatribe for a little bit and complain about something that happened to me. I'm having this renovation, which you guys know about. I don't know, the listeners know, but we're redoing some stairs, and the stair lady is impossible to work with. So I have been yelling at her almost every day for the past week, trying to get everything just right. She hates me. I hate her. It's a hate relationship. Everything's great now. The workers are excellent, I should say. The actual people doing the work, excellent. This lady who is in charge that I have to go through, horrible. Can't deal with her. She decides to make decisions without asking us and then blames us for approving stuff she made up and just went forward with. So anyways.
Is someone coordinating the workers specifically, or?
We have a general contractor.
Is she at your house ever, or just is this all
sometimes? Phone? Yeah, no, she comes over every once in a while, but yeah, it's just been a bit of a debacle. So the renovation is done, except for these stairs. It keeps getting screwed up. They gave us the weirdest fucking railing I've ever seen. So we made them rip it out, and boy, that set off a hornet's nest.
Oh yeah, that'll do it. That will do it.
But we weren't home, and they just did this funky railing. We're like, what is this? Anyways, sorry. But I had to vent. I had to vent.
The viewers of Game Junk on youtube.com/Game Junk are certainly loving these renovations. We don't get hockey equipment on racks. We have a beautiful picture.
I'm in Paris.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Don't worry. Soon I will be back with my samurai hockey racks in the basement, back where I belong, where there's no sunlight.
All right, it's time to get to this list. Top 5 space games. And we're going to start with Sean Dwyer. He's Mr.
All right.
Space. Just think, all of this goes back. Everything we're doing here goes back to space junk. This guy loves space.
I do like space, and I feel like I should have 16 titles I'm trying to fit in my list, but it really wasn't like that for me. Maybe because I just hadn't finished. There's games I'm like, oh, that probably is good, but I haven't played it. But my number 5, so I kind of, there's a lot of Star Trek games to choose from. I kind of felt like probably there'd be a Star Trek game in here somewhere. I went with Star Trek 25th Anniversary Edition, which is a classic point and click adventure game. and a lot of good memories from this one. And definitely a feeling of exploring the galaxy and going to different planets and encountering strange phenomenon and aliens and stuff. So
can you do the whole intro like Reed could on Technobabble?
I can. I actually think Reed might have got a word wrong in his, but I don't want to call him out. I just, I think he said ongoing mission. I think it's continuing mission, but hey.
Game, I've played the game before. I really enjoy it, but I find it extremely difficult and never made it very far. So I definitely got the vibes, the Star Trek vibes. It's probably the only Star Trek game I've ever felt like it captured the series the way I would think it would be. But it is difficult to go back to. And I wasn't using a guide or anything, which was probably a big mistake. But I concur. It definitely captures the space vibes.
I've never heard of this game. I'm looking at images now, and this is a perfect Sean game. Everything about it.
I should say there's no Space Quest on my list. This
is your Space Quest, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Huck, you're up next.
Okay, mine, the game that no one's heard of. That's amazing. Freelancer. Possibly to be replaced with Star Citizen if Star Citizen ever comes out. But made by the same guy who's making Star Citizen. This game is you basically play as a space pirate and travel the galaxy and buy ships, collect cargo, fight other space pirates, steal their cargo, trade on different planets. This is the definition of like a space exploration game. You start off in one little solar system and then expand out to the galaxy or whatever. And it's really incredible, especially when I played it. I was playing it at university with like guys in my dorm and over the LAN and everything like that. So it was super fun because we all would just get in and we'd like tell each other where the best deals were. And we'd be like running cargo back and forth in a little crew. Sounds super nerdy. And it was great.
Nice. I was doing a little research before the show, and one list I looked at, this was number one as well. Or not as well, but it was number one on that list. So it's popular.
Oh, yeah.
Now we'll get to my list. My list, I'm going to be completely honest, is absolute garbage. One of the worst lists I've ever made in my life. I'm not proud of it. It just had to be done. Got a couple of honorable mentions, but my number 5 is Star Fox 64.
A classic.
The most kind of spacey it gets is probably picking which path you want to take with all the planets. And I should have got a clip of good luck when you pick your board. But I played this game a lot, listening to a lot of Aerosmith in high school at 4 a.m, playing Star Fox 64, and have a lot of fond memories of the dogfighting and the linear levels and
doing a barrel roll.
Absolutely. Your father helped me like that too. Great game.
You obviously forgot of the asteroid belt missions. Hello, that's in space.
Yeah, 100%. And I mean, when you fight Andros, that's in space. There is stuff in space, but man, I didn't really play the 3DS version when it got remastered. Just too small, a little cramped. Give me a full remake of this game, or let's get some of those 3DS games on a new virtual console or service with Nintendo Online, because I want to play.
Why don't we just get a new Star Fox game? We haven't had a new Star Fox in a long time.
I should have put Star Fox Adventures.
Oh, interesting.
Just kidding. Fox Adventures.
Always wanted to play that game. Never played it.
I beat it. I beat it, and that was at a time when I was like,
"You're the only one, probably."
This is not very good, and I just kept playing it, probably because it was rare. Before I realized rare is not as good as I thought they were.
I mean, I think Star Fox is a good choice. I hadn't even thought of that. And I was trying to think what the last Star Fox game was. And wasn't it like some kind of strategy game or something? Like it wasn't a full Star Fox game, right?
Star Fox Zero?
No, I thought like the Wii. Yeah. Maybe it was part of a full game that like spun off into its own thing. I don't really remember now, but
Star Fox Zero is a 3D rail shooter video game developed by, I think it was Platinum Games.
maybe that's not what I'm thinking of. It was something that was tied to the Wii U one, I thought, like Star Fox Blitz or something like that. Probably.
This guy's blitzed.
Yeah, it might be. Anyway, my number 4 is High on Life. Fairly recent game. And I was kind of trying to think of a game that like captures just the weirdness of what could be in space. And, I was thinking about Journey to a Savage Planet, which I really liked as well, but you really don't ever leave the planet, whereas High on Life, you do go to different planets and stuff. So High on Life, my number 4.
Okay, I have an extra Steam code for High on Life from a Humble Bundle or something. So what could we say to get people to come to the YouTube video and like something they can leave in a comment, and then I'll pick someone to give that code to? Maybe give us your top 5 or some kind of comment, and I will give away that code. Still a pretty pricey game if you want it.
Yeah, that sounds
You
good.
have until next week's episode to do something in the comment section on youtube.com/GameJunk of this episode, and I will pick a winner from there.
There you go. Cool. Drive that engagement. Attaboy. My number 4, probably not a huge surprise, but TIE Fighter. This game definitely is all in space. There's not a single thing not in space. And I really enjoy just the act of flying around the ships, scanning the different enemy vessels as they approach to see what cargo they have and shooting them down, all the dogfighting. Really great game. There's also like an underlying story with the Empire and you being the Emperor's hand or something they call it. I can't remember exactly what it is, but really enjoyed it growing up. Tried to go back multiple times, and it's pretty slow and pretty dense, but I've never really gotten much further past the first couple of missions in all of my replay attempts. But I really enjoyed it when I was a child and had endless amounts of time to just play this game. So number 4, TIE Fighter.
This is when I was really into consoles, and PCs were a complete oddity to me. And I had friends who would play this on PC, and I'd watch them, and I would just be like, this is the worst game I've ever seen. It looks so boring.
It is definitely an acquired taste. And the sheer amount of button presses on the keyboard you need to memorize in order to actually control the ship in a good way was mind-boggling. I think, half the keyboard was used with shortcut keys for stuff. But I mean, I was the opposite as a kid. I didn't have any consoles, so I just had a PC. And then I eventually got a Genesis. So I was out of that console game for so long. I had to rely on my PC.
No doubt. No doubt. Sean, I kind of interrupted you. Did you have anything to say about High on Life?
Not much more. I mean, it's, obviously it's a comedic game, but I just like how kind of weird it is and the different alien creatures they have in the game and stuff like that. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. On the topic of TIE Fighter, I was just looking up because I know they announced a Dark Forces remaster.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I was like, did I hear something about a TIE Fighter remaster? And it looks like there is a fan-made remaster called TIE Fighter Total Conversion or something like that. So that apparently may be the best way to play it now. So
interesting.
Check it out.
I have not heard about this.
All right. My number 4 is Dead Space. That's the game where you're floating in space or doing stuff in zero gravity. And I've been playing through it a bit, the remake, and I think it is a very cohesive, shorter, and like jam-packed, amazing game. And it deserves all the praise it's ever gotten. So Dead Space. What a game.
Oh yeah.
Nice. Okay, my number 3. This probably is the biggest stretch of my list, but I mean, I think it still applies. So I'm going with Halo Reach. And I know Halo, I kind of saw on some lists of these kinds of things, and I was like, does that really apply? But then Halo Reach has that specific mission where you actually are fighting in space, and I think you end up like on that ship outside, and it's like that anti-gravity fight, which is pretty awesome. I mean, that's the thing I remember from that game. So, and I mean, just the Halo series in general, the idea of seeing ships kind of land out of the sky and stuff was really cool.
Or like just the idea of the original Halo. I had Halo Reach at one point and was debating between that and Halo Combat Evolved, just from the idea of the Halo itself and like gravity changing and stuff like that. It gave the sense of like something in space, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
But I was the same way. All I remembered was when we reviewed Halo Reach, that mission in space where you're fighting using a ship, and that was I would love to replay Halo Reach.
Could be the best Halo game.
I think it is 100%.
Yeah. And yet another game on my that I did not think of for my list. My list is growing. My number 3, I feel a little dirty picking this, but I think it is okay. Super Mario Galaxy. And I'm sure this might be on your guys' list, but I don't really consider this one like a true space game, but it is an excellent game where you kind of travel between planets. So I would count that as space. And I think, Mario Galaxy, how good it is well known. So I don't think I need to go into any more detail on that.
Yeah, I mean, I could see the space thing. You are shooting between planets. There's literal planets that you go between.
Mm-hmm.
So I will allow it.
Well, thank you, Frank.
You're welcome. Is it my turn?
Yep.
Yes.
My number 3 is Mass Effect 2. Just debating between Mass Effect 1 and 2. I know when Mass Effect 1 came out, I beat it 6 times and got every achievement. And then 2, I've beaten twice, and I think I've platinumed it or 100%ed it twice. And I do prefer, and this will probably come up later, I prefer the more action-based approach to Mass Effect. While I still like the first one, and I never beat 3, Andromeda, didn't really get into, but Mass Effect 2, I even liked the weird mini games where you would shoot probes onto planets to get resources, and I love the character designs in that game. Always have. And Mass Effect 2, fantastic.
Very cool. Good pick. My number 2, this is going to be a megaton because my number 2 is Starfield.
Whoa. Off the board.
This guy is rock hard for Starfield.
Well, I've played like 10 hours or so in the last week.
10 hours?
Yeah, I'm really enjoying the game. It's got its issues, but in terms of space games, this is definitely one of the best I've played in terms of feeling like you're exploring the galaxy and you can just land on some random planet and find shit, and you're like, oh, cool, like I found something, like that feeling is great. But definitely some issues with the UI and the navigation system and a bunch of other things, which maybe we'll talk about.
So is the selling feature that you can take a bunch of bottles and leave them in the John on one planet, travel all around the galaxy, and then come back and the bottles will still be there? Is that the big selling feature?
I haven't tried that, but I believe that.
Well,
okay.
Seen the thing with the potatoes?
Digital Foundry tried it and it works. Let me tell you.
Well, they save the state of every object in their games, right?
Yes, they do. Yeah.
Positive. But I saw the potato physics viral thing, and
miss that.
Someone put like thousands of potatoes in one room, close the door, and then open it, and the potatoes roll out. And the character creator, they created Todd Howard and other people. So Microsoft is desperate to get this game to go viral, and it's kind of working, and it's definitely working on Sean.
Yeah. Okay. My number 2 is Dead Space. I think this game, though, like we kind of talked about, doesn't take place in space that much. It definitely, you get the feeling that you are in space while you're playing this game. For sure. The isolation aspect of it, the intro scene as you're approaching the planet and the ruined ship or whatever that you're going to is just incredible. Really sets the tone. And, you know, the aliens, the space aliens, whatever you call them, xenomorphs or whatever they are, just set the tone for this game. Yeah. Whatever.
Like that's alien isolation, but whatever.
Oh, right. Yeah. Well, whatever. Some sort of alien thing.
Creatures. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. I don't know. It just captures that space feeling with the spacesuit, with the diegetic UI. It's great. I love everything about Dead Space, and I haven't even played through the whole remake yet, so I really enjoy it. Definitely a number 2 spot.
Way to get diegetic in there. Well done.
I had to. I
failed on that.
Yeah, you did.
All right, my number 2. This is my top 2 are both gross. Number 2 is Jedi Survivor.
Nice.
And I know it's not that spacey. Star Wars, I guess, is default space, but I really like the planet map and going between planets with that ship. It is you don't really do anything in space. It's going to planets, but especially in Jedi Survivor, you like go to like moons that you can see while you're on a planet, and it's connecting things, and it feels pretty spacey, and it's an amazing game. So yeah, Jedi Survivor. Pardon me, Star Wars Jedi Survivor.
Yeah, I think it applies. I mean, definitely.
Totally.
The ship's cool. The planets are cool.
And
I was considering
the best level design, I can say for sure, of the past 10 years, but possibly ever.
Whoa. We haven't heard that yet.
Like
I was considering Fallen Order.
Fallen Order. And I know
I haven't beat Survivor, so
actually, we haven't reviewed. I might have saved some of this stuff, but Fallen Order was very congested. So, certain planets, it was like things were on top of each other. So this game, they've just let everything breathe by like doubling the size of things and giving you new abilities to like dash through the air, grapple. You add a bunch of moves to your repertoire for locomotion, and it has just made the level designs sing, baby. It rules.
Very cool.
Okay, well, here we are. Number 1. My number 1. Frank?
Well, I'm wondering if it's Metroid, but for some reason, I kind of excluded Metroid. I don't know why. There's no good reason.
It's not Metroid. I thought about it. I guess, like, in terms of space travel stuff, maybe Prime 3 might be the closest to that, but it didn't really feel right. But, I guess it does fit. No, my number 1 is Mass Effect 2, which I think Starfield kind of, definitely one of the biggest influences on Starfield is the Mass Effect series. And I mean, I think they do the same feeling of exploring, but the story lines and the characters are great. And I just remember when the first game came out. I mean, I do prefer the action oriented stuff, and that's kind of why I went with 2. And I finished 2 and never came close to finishing 1. But when 1 came out, I just remember the kind of production design and like everything to do with like the spacesuits and the ships and just the look of it really captured just some kind of like retro future vibe that I really liked. It was kind of part Star Trek, part something original, something grounded in reality, and
it's kind of part Star Trek, part Star Wars. Like
I guess that's true.
The character design specifically feel pretty Star Warsy to me.
Yeah.
And they had done Knights of the Old Republic. I thought someone might put that on their list as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True. But I don't think they did, because I put Mass Effect 1 as my number 1. Already called out by Frank pre-show. Well ahead of time. But I just love this game. I think it captures the storytelling aspect much better than the other Mass Effect games. I've beaten 3 and Andromeda. So I just still really love Mass Effect 1, and I will go to bat for Mass Effect 1 every day over the other games. Love them all, though. Let's be honest. Even Andromeda. I played Andromeda well after it came out, so it was patched and nice and great to play. I didn't have any of the issues many other people had. So one advantage to being late to the party is that you get a fixed game every time.
Mm-hmm. And it'd be weird if Andromeda launched today, because it seems like every game is getting patched constantly, and that was not the case when that game came out. So
yeah,
would like to go back to it, but there's literally probably never going to be enough time for me to play Mass Effect Andromeda at this point. That reminded me of one other thing. Comparing Mass Effect 1 and 2, well, like with Sean, I prefer the action-based parts. The one thing I did prefer in Mass Effect 1 was the stats, and like RPGs are letting you decide how you want to play. And the stat system and character points were a little more robust along with the inventory. And it wasn't even overwhelming. Like, it was already simplified, and then they really simplified it for part 2. So I do prefer the customization and stats of part 1.
Yeah. The thing that I don't like about the combat of 2, actually, just to go on a total tangent, is I don't like how they added ammo. I like the heat and cooldown system of the first game much more over the ammo system of Mass Effect 2 and 3. So that's me.
I'm trying to remember what's the name for the aliens that are like the really big kind of...
The jellyfish guys?
No, they're like kind of like, they're not really frogs, but
like elephant looking things.
No, this is really embarrassing.
Reptilian?
Kind of reptilian. Not like Garrus. Like, I know Garrus and Saren. There's the other species or race. I can't remember. Damn it. And it's one of my favorite like creature ideas and designs in all of all I keep thinking about is Genghis Frog from Ninja Turtles, even though they don't look that much like it. I gotta know. It's driving me crazy.
So Krogan is what what's his name is, right?
Sorry, is what
is what the
Rex.
Garrus? No.
It's not what Garrus?
Rex. No. That's Rex.
Okay.
Krogan is the species I'm talking about.
Okay, Krogan. Okay. With the big like shell back thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Rex from the first game, and I can't remember the character in Mass Effect 2 that is a Krogan.
Me neither, but that is one of my favorite concepts for creature design ever in a video game. Love it.
I thought you were going to say those creatures that don't have any emphasis on any of their words. They have no emotion. It's just like deadpan, everything they say. You know the ones I'm talking about?
I don't
They
remember.
they kind of look like elephant things without the trunk.
Don't remember that.
Okay.
My number 1 is Super Mario Galaxy.
Yeah.
Mario Odyssey is the best Mario game, 3D Mario game, and I think Mario Galaxy is not too far behind. And I've been really wanting to revisit it because I'm wondering if in some ways it is better. And those two games are incredible. I prefer the original to 2 from what I remember, but the inventiveness, the kind of just each planet is its own idea and puzzle. It was the best use of the pointer on the Wiimote that I can think of, collecting star bits with your opposite hand and using it on the screen. Just a completely charming game that will be a classic forever. Super Mario Galaxy.
Great pick.
Yeah.
It's got Galaxy in the title. It's a space game.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. We should acknowledge that none of us picked No Man's Sky, which I think, a lot of people would probably have on this list, but
yeah, there's a couple games like that I have never really played, like EVE Online. like Elite Dangerous, No Man's Sky. I had Kerbal Space Program. I know is huge.
Yeah.
FTL.
FTL, yeah, FTL's on my honorable mentions for sure. One I thought might have slipped into your guys' list, especially Frank, was Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart.
I thought it.
Yeah, okay. But yeah, I had a few other honorable mentions that kind of got beat out because they weren't as spacey as I would have liked, like Doom. I was considering.
Yeah.
FTL, Super Metroid, Space Quest 2, Mass Effect 2, Alien Isolation. I also like for similar reasons as Dead Space, but I took that off because I feel like that more captures Alien than space. And then Star Fox and Star Fox 64. I hadn't even thought of those before you started talking about them, but they are great games as well.
Yeah, Ratchet and Clank for some reason is probably just as spacey as everything on my list, but I don't know. I just don't associate it with space for some reason. And the only other game that would pop into my mind, which I didn't even play that much, and there was no chance of it ever making the list, but I didn't see it on anything, but Colony Wars on PlayStation 1 was the first time I played like a space shooter or fighter, and I actually had fun with it. Where as we were saying before, stuff like Wing Commander and TIE Fighter felt so slow and boring and methodical. This made like space combat exciting. And I don't know if it's actually any good, if it holds up, but it was the first game that made me get or enjoy space combat.
I never played that game, but when you mentioned it, the first game that popped into my mind was Descent. Do you guys remember that game?
I saw that on some lists, yes.
Did you? Okay.
Yeah.
I remember that game was huge when it came out. I don't remember exactly why. I remember it being really frustrating and nauseous inducing, but
yeah, I just remember not knowing which way is up and down. I'm like, I have no directional skills to begin with, and then this game really threw it in the loop.
When you have basically like flat wall textures or flat walls, no textures, it's really hard to tell which direction you've come from and which way is up.
Which is another thing Dead Space figured out, like a button so it just rotates everything to reorient you when you get in weird zero gravity situations and you're not sure. So Dead Space figured all this stuff out. Dead Space possibly should have been higher on my list. Maybe I'll regret it.
100%.
Okay, that's the list. Let us know your favorite space games or big emissions or what we got right or wrong. Leave it as a comment on youtube.com/GameJunk, and maybe you'll be selected to win a copy or a Steam code for High on Life. I don't know the logistics or how I'm going to get you the code, but we'll figure it out.
Yeah, there you go.
Very cool.
Okay. Time to get into what we played. And Sean has just been dying to talk about Starfield. I don't think I've ever seen him this excited about a game ever. So I'm giving the floor to Mr. Dwyer right now.
Are you wearing a Starfield shirt?
Yeah, look.
Yeah, well? I wore my NASA pump.
Oh no!
So
if you want to see Sean's pit stains, check it out on youtube.com.
Yes, please do. Yeah, so I mean, I kind of started playing this game just out of curiosity. Like, obviously, I was interested, but not. I know you guys aren't crazy about Bethesda games, and I mean, I guess Skyrim's the one I put the most time into, but I haven't played really much of the Fallout games. I just didn't have a lot to compare it to. But first couple hours was a little slow. Definitely introducing a lot of systems, and I was just kind of like, yeah, this isn't grabbing me. But somewhere along the way, there was like a mission where you kind of, you're supposed to go one place, and something in the dialogue options was kind of like, oh, you could explore the moon if you want, because you were like in our solar system. And I was like, oh, cool. Yeah, let's do that. So then I landed on the moon and just started looking around and, found some cool stuff. And I mean, cool stuff, meaning just guys to shoot and loot to
different flora, fauna, and rocks.
Well, I mean, I've been doing some of that stuff. I really don't find the scanning system that satisfying so far. But
I like it, but it's definitely not intuitive. Like how the percentages go up.
Yeah, and finding the resources isn't that hard, but then like the flora and fauna stuff, wasn't finding a lot of that. So
why is it some things I scan at once and I have it, and others I got to scan 10 of them versus and enemies, you don't really scan them. You have to beat them, I think, to add them, which is kind of inconsistent.
Yes. Just weird little confusing things like that. And I mean, that's kind of across a lot of the systems, to be honest with you. But so like once I kind of got into the exploration element of it, I was kind of hooked. I do think story-wise, like I like that the initial thing that they try to, you find this artifact, you have a vision, and it's kind of like you're trying to collect these things.
Kind of like that Effect one.
Yeah. But I mean, I like that idea, but once you start bringing people into your crew and stuff, I'm not finding any of them to be that interesting so far. And it's I mean, like, I guess for me, like, it feels like a mix between Mass Effect, Cyberpunk, a little bit of No Man's Sky. There's a lot of systems that I'm probably never going to touch. I'm not that interested in base building. I'm not really even that interested in ship building. There's like cooking, crafting, like medicine, all this stuff that I'm like, if I have to, I guess I'll delve into it, but I'm really not that interested in it. So I'm just trying to mainline it right now for the most part, and that's kind of fun. But probably biggest complaints would be the encumbrance system. A lot of people complaining about that, I'm sure. It's just
why are they've done that in every game, and it's been annoying in every game. They're not going to change that now. That's like DNA of Bethesda games.
I guess so. Yeah. There's a skill you can take, weightlifting, which allows you to carry more. But like, I've already hit the point, like you can go back to your ship and offload your cargo. I've already hit the point now where my ship is full. So I'm like, what the hell am I supposed to do? Like,
you're
I guess
a hoarder. You're supposed to sell some shit.
Yeah. And I guess I haven't really done much of that either, but so that's kind of annoying. The map system sucks for like, there's something if you're on a planet, but it's kind of useless. Like, it really doesn't, it shows you the general direction, which you can get anyway if you just go into scan mode and look around. But I was kind of annoyed about that.
I did find I only played like a couple hours. I haven't played since last week, but just going into the map and where your ship is versus like the icons within the star map, I was kind of confused by. I'm assuming you figure it out at some point, but it certainly wasn't intuitive to me.
Well, that's probably my biggest complaint, to be honest with you, because I've had like just recently a couple missions where, you go to the star map, it'll show you where your next mission is. So you click on that planet, you fast travel to that planet. You don't have to like manually drive there, obviously. And then you get there and it's like, maybe you land on the planet, you get off the ship, and now your objective thing is telling you to get back on the ship. And I'm like, what? And like, so there's actually like stuff that there's markers that overlap each other, and it's not really clear. Like, if you click on it, it'll give you a list that you can go through like 5 options. And it's like, which one do you actually want to land at? And I was just always choosing the first one. So that was really confusing. I just figured that out like recently. And it's like, how did they not make that more clear? I don't know. And I had an issue with docking. I don't know if you got to that point, Frank, but
no.
I mean, docking is super simple if you know what to do, but they don't really even tell you at all what you're supposed to do. And you got to go into scan mode, click A on the space station, and then I think you hold X or something to dock. But I kept thinking I got to manually like get close to this dock, and I like kept crashing into the space station. And I'm like, what the hell is going on here? So that was pretty frustrating.
So it's not like an Interstellar moment with the score playing. Did you fire?
No, but I was hoping for it. I was feeling it because your ship does spin pretty easily, and I was like trying to lock it right in place. But no,
it's kind of like that No Man's Sky meme or whatever when it released, where it was the E3 version versus the launched version, and it was Jurassic Park like score, and then it turned to like this weird. Have you heard that accordion? Have you seen this?
I don't think so.
I feel like you could do a nice meme with the music from Interstellar trying to space dock in this game. And
oh, maybe.
I recall doing something similar like that in Elite Dangerous when I played it, except you did have to do the interstellar rotation lineup type stuff in that. And I remember crashing many a time trying to get that just right as well. Apparently docking is difficult in games.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it's for the best that it's automatic. I just, all I needed was a pop-up to tell me, and maybe it was there and I missed it. I really don't know. But yeah, I guess
you haven't mentioned the aesthetic, I don't think. Like just the spaceships, and I think that's my favorite part.
Yeah, the NASA punk. It's working for me. I really like it. I like the score, as you mentioned last week, I think. Generally visually it works for me, but it does have, there's something about it that's weird. And I know this goes back to other Bethesda games. Like, people always complain that their animations suck and stuff. There is something about characters that just, they look so kind of wooden in how they move and pivot and stuff. And it's like, I don't know if they're not doing animation blending or what it is, but I don't know if you noticed this, Frank. There's something about it. Like the facial animations and all this stuff is pretty good, but just when they rotate to look at you and talk to you, it just feels super robotic and weird.
Yeah, there's a lot of like just tweening to positions for dialogue, and I didn't notice it that much, probably because I was pleasantly surprised by the fidelity of the character models and how it's improved over other games. So I was kind of fixated on that. But I do remember talking to the robot. I can't remember the name of the robot. And
yeah, I forgot his name.
And that feeling, something like what you're talking about, like something was off with it. But I liked it because it's like a weird interaction with a robot, which should be weird.
Yeah, I guess that would kind of work. But there is definitely like strange overlapping dialogue stuff. Like other games have just done this better. And maybe it's just the amount of dialogue or something. But, like you are getting some kind of ambient dialogue from some character who's just, you're not doing anything. So they're like, oh, I'm going to tell you my backstory. And then meanwhile, some other person starts talking and now they're talking over each other and you can't hear anything. Like that's happened to me multiple times. Not the worst thing in the world, but just feels a bit off. But
I'm just thinking back to your top 5 list. So you had Starfield, High on Life, Mass Effect 2, and what were the other ones?
Star Trek and Halo Reach.
Okay, so every game but one is on Game Pass. Are you getting Game Pass payola and like holding out on us? Because I'll take it. I'll start saying how great Game Pass is. I've never been offered it. Are you holding out?
Maybe. I don't know.
Something's up here.
I mean, that's kind of the weird thing is like, it's such this, it really is this big game that, we were talking offline about the xCloud wait times right now. And I'm kind of like, is this like, I don't know, my conspiracy theory part of my brain's going off a bit where I'm like, are they like, do they know like these people on like the last gen systems are trying to play, or people who are just getting Game Pass and trying to play on mobile or something? And they're like, no, we want to force them to get an actual console. So let's make these wait queues longer. Like, because the thing is, once you get in, and I have waited and actually got in and it's fine. So it's really just this line, I guess, of like, I don't know if there's a maximum of how many people can play at once, but
so you're playing Starfield on your phone?
No, I was playing on the Xbox One S via cloud.
Okay.
So,
I couldn't figure out how to do that. When I was looking at it today, it had that like circle with a line through it. It didn't give me an option to cloud stream. Maybe I just was in the wrong section. Maybe I was in I have to look at it. But
so when you sent an image, I didn't look that closely at the image. I thought you were just saying that there was a wait time. How long is the wait time?
You're talking to me? The image I sent?
Yeah.
So, okay. So spinning off, I was trying to play Sea of Stars on my phone, and I had to wait 10 minutes. Over 10 minutes. Yeah.
I logged on yesterday and it was half an hour wait time.
Wow.
What it said. I don't think it actually, like, I just left it up for a while and it logged me in.
How is this not the biggest story on IGN?
I mean, it's being
none of those people
reported
use
on
that.
in a lot
A game that's 20 years
places,
old
but
gets pulled off a store. It's like a front page headline. A game service they're charging for actively is like a half hour wait time to use it. What is up with that?
it's a little weird. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, it's not weird that there's wait time. It's weird that it's not being mentioned at all when the smallest things turn into enormous articles on these websites.
I mean, I've seen articles being written. I don't know about IGN specifically. So it's people are complaining.
There were some articles that were really concerned about Sony making AAA games and focusing on that. So if that's a concern, not being able to use something you're paying for, I think is a bit worse than making games that win Game of the Year every single year. Anyway,
I mean, like this game is a big game for them. If you're going to have people signing up for Game Pass to play this game and then they're getting a half hour wait time, like that's a little crazy.
Phil, this is on you, bud. I'm looking at you.
Mm-hmm.
You are not making Xbox the platform for all gamers everywhere. You're not connecting the world. You're failing, bud.
Actually, your talk there of PlayStation and Xbox service, you're paying for this service and not getting it. There was a piece of news that dropped that we forgot to talk about, and that was the PS Plus price increases, and they're pretty substantial.
Yep.
So I have a Canadian article up right now, so it's not the best, but basically like all of the tiers are going up quite a lot, like $40 to $50.
Yeah, I think I got an email saying when you expire, your annual fee for the highest level was $190 or something like that. I think.
Yeah, it used to be $140. So that went up 50. Mid tier went up, looks like 40. And then the lowest tier went up 30 or 25. So pretty substantial increases for, people on a budget that might be paying for these things.
Yeah. And I definitely, if I didn't do some deals and cash in a bunch of PlayStation Plus to get grandfathered into this, like mine expires late 2025, I think at this point. So, but I would not sign up for that again ever. I would just buy the games I want here and there.
Yeah, it seems like a lot to be paying for what you're getting right now. There's nothing that's really drawing me to it.
And you're not even going to get necessarily the exclusive PlayStation games day one, right? Like at least with Game Pass, if Microsoft releases something big, you're going to get it. So that's
we're not getting Spider-Man 2.
Yeah.
So
it's definitely, I mean, I haven't seen a lot of value from PlayStation Plus since I signed up last year.
I mean, the only thing I have Death Stranding now because of it, I believe. And I got, Miles Morales, which are great.
Maybe Miles Morales. Death Stranding has been free everywhere. Like
true. I have it on Epic. Yeah, it's true. Yeah, but that's the same thing. Like, the big thing this month was Sea of Stars was free. Well, okay, it's also free on Xbox and, available everywhere else. So not that big of a thing. Whereas, Game Pass, you can only get Starfield for free there. So interesting. I don't know. That seems like a lot of money, and I'm surprised. I don't know. I'm not really following things too much, but you'd think there'd be quite an outrage all over the place on this, especially with, the prices of everything going up so much. That seems like a reach for what they're offering, to me personally anyways. And I feel like I'm grandfathered in pretty far as well, Frank, similar. So I'm not worried about it too much, but I have to definitely go and look at my subscription a little closer and consider if I want to keep this thing going, because I barely play right now, and burning another $200 every year if I'm not going to use it seems like a giant waste.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So a bit of a tangent there, which I enjoyed. Sean, did you have any other thoughts on Starfield, or did we cover it all?
I mean, that's most of it right now. I'm going to keep playing and just kind of see where it goes this month, and maybe I'll finish it, maybe I won't. But right now, I am enjoying it a fair bit, and yeah, like I said, there's certain games that it's reminding me of, and I'm not as familiar with the Bethesda stuff, so it's like, I don't know, maybe it is exactly like Fallout. I'm not sure, but yeah, the combat's pretty solid in terms of gunplay and stuff.
Quick question. Do you create or try to create a version of yourself with the creator or something?
So I think I saw somebody in the Discord post this, but I chose the old man like starting character and just tried to make him look like, as old as possible.
Beautiful.
Which is
should
great.
try and create I guess you can't be an alien in this game, but the ET version of you would have been good.
That would be good, yeah.
But I was debating hopping on and doing a live stream to help people tell me I want to make a character that looks like me, and I'm incapable of it. I cannot make anyone who looks like me. I don't know what defines my eye shape or anything. I try to make me, and it never looks anything like me. So, and Sean and I both struggle with that stuff. Like Sean, when we got the 3DS to create his me, it said it was a baby, like an infant. And it couldn't do it. Right. So I need help. I need help from the listeners to create me. So maybe I'll do
that's
that.
A great idea.
I want it to look exactly like me. I just can't do it. So it makes me want to just create a weird random character because it's this lame approximation of me. What's the point of that? Anyway.
Yeah.
All right, Huck, you're up.
Okay. I was just going to say, moral of the story, don't even try. Don't even try.
Good moral. Random. Pick random everything.
Yeah. So the only thing I've been playing is more Sea of Stars. I haven't played too much, but there is a few other mechanics that have been introduced. And just like little things that they have polish on, I really appreciate. Like just a small thing. Like I'm going down a ladder and they let you slide down the ladder very quickly, instead of making you climb at the same rate that you would climb down that you would climb up. Just like a small little thing, but it makes it so much easier to navigate in the space. And the only other new mechanic they added is now when you're in combat, you can attack enemies with your normal attack, and they drop these little orbs. And each time you attack them, they drop more orbs, and you can sort of like charge these orbs up and then apply them to one of the characters. And then it becomes almost like an elemental attack for that character, depending on what elemental they have as their character. And then your normal attack would have that elemental damage applied when you attack, or you could do one of your skills and the damage would be much more. So it's kind of like a multiplier. And it encourages you to do normal attacks and then use these things to power up your extra skills. So it is a nice, active, yet another way to engage you during combat that I really appreciate. And it does add quite a bit to the game because it's another level of strategy you have to take into account. And so far, the battles have been very balanced to the point where I feel like I'm going to die. And then one thing I don't think I mentioned last week was you only get to craft or cook 10 healing items, and that's all you can take with you. And so there's been sections where I have to use all 10, and then I reach the save point. And I was stressing out because I thought for sure I was going to die, but I made it, by the skin of my teeth, but probably well designed and well balanced in general. The one thing is that I thought originally that you could only get in the battles one time, but you can actually leave a map and come back and then refight everything. So you can grind in this game, which I didn't think you could necessarily before, but you can, which I do like, because there's other games I've played where, the battle only exists one time and it seems a little basic, but this is good. Other than that, I don't have too much else to add. Still really liking it. The story's good. How they're introducing characters is great. There's there's little other mechanics now with like a time of day thing they're adding, but it's not really much. It's like a mini little puzzle thing where you have to kind of a little bit of timing based puzzles, but they're very simple so far. So there is starting to be a little more of that crosscode-esque in-world puzzles, but still no like movement puzzles yet. So I don't know. I don't know where it's going to go. I think the game's pretty long, like 25 hours or something like that. So I'm not sure how far in I am, but still really, really enjoying it and excited to see what else they add. So that's where I am with Sea of Stars.
Nice. This was literally the least I've gamed in a week, possibly in my life. I'm guessing there's one week where I was away on vacation or something and didn't bring a portable device, but I'm not quite sure. I'm an absolute embarrassment to gaming. I'm not gaming hard. I'm a sham, and I've never felt like such a piece of shit in my life. I miss you, video games. I love you. I'll be back.
Yes, you will.
Please don't hate me, video games. I don't hate you. I don't like this.
Now you know how I feel almost every week.
Yeah, but I mean, like, I can't play. I haven't played anything. I haven't even got my fingers and stuff. I haven't even like you're working on games too, right? Like you're getting a little taste of the game.
True. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. I had one other quick little thing I wanted to mention there, Frank. So there's a game that just came out called Chants, like CHANTS, like you're chanting something. Chants of Sennaar. And it's a puzzle game, which I tried the demo a couple of weeks ago. And it was kind of intriguing. I mean, I really like the art style, but the thing is, it's kind of like you're learning a language, sort of. So like you're interacting with these people and they will try to communicate with you using symbols, and you start to figure out what each symbol means, and then you build on that. And actually what it reminded me a lot of was Curse of the Golden Idol, because there's sort of these pages you have where it's like, once you learn a symbol, it'll fill it in, or like what, like it'll be like, 5 blanks. And once you fill in the right ones, those are locked in. And now you know what the definition of those symbols are. And then you move on. And it's, yeah, I mean, I was enjoying it. I haven't actually bought the full game yet, but I plan to. So I just thought I'd give it a quick mention for people who might be into this kind of thing.
It looks really good. I haven't heard of this game. And when I hear learning a language in a game, the only thing I think of is Fez, which I don't think did it well. So I'm curious to see if this game does it well. And it's Case of the Golden Idol. I think you said Curse, but I get it wrong sometimes too. And I'm only bringing it up because I don't think we've mentioned, and I'm embarrassed that I haven't played this yet either. There is final DLC available for Case of the Golden Idol, which I need to play soon. I've purchased, but need to play. But I am adding Chants of Sennaar to my wish list because it looks pretty cool.
This reminds me of, I can't remember the name of the game, and I was trying to search for it, but there was like an archaeology game where you have to decipher a language. Is this ringing a bell for anyone? You play as like a woman with kind of like blue and yellow and white clothing. And it's kind of like, it's not fluid animation. It's kind of like stop motion almost, or motion comic style, I believe. But I can't remember the name of it. Anyways, it reminded me of that. But I did play one other thing, which I just remembered about. And I downloaded Final Fantasy First Crisis. Is that what it's called? It's on your phone. It's a free to download game. And I didn't know what it was when I downloaded it. But it is a mobile version of Final Fantasy VII, Final Fantasy Crisis Core, and one other Final Fantasy game. And you basically, they mobilificationed it where you have like a mission, and you have to complete that mission. And then they have all those stupid mobile pop-ups like claim this reward and blah, blah, blah. But basically like the first mission is doing the first reactor of Final Fantasy VII, and almost to a T with little changes. You don't do quite as much exploration, and you don't go through the whole path to get to the reactor, but it's basically the first mission of the reactor. And then the second one is like when you meet Eris in the city in Sector 7 or whatever it's called. So it's kind of strange, and you get all these rewards and you get this stuff. I don't know what I'm getting. I'm getting gems. I'm getting this other stuff. Very mobile like, and then you can branch out and play missions from the other games. So it looks like you just kind of play through the games. There was also some sort of like energy aspect of it. You know, these mobile games, how you can only, you have 15 energy a day, and then you run out, and then you can, so I never actually used any of my energy. I'm not quite sure how that plays in, but I thought it was going to be something else. I thought it was going to be more unique, like a more unique game. I didn't realize it was just going to be rehashing the old games. So I don't think I'm going to play it anymore. But if anyone has not played Final Fantasy and has a phone and is interested, Final Fantasy VII, I should say, this is probably a good little thing to do. I don't know where the gacha comes in and where the money needs to start flowing in order for you to get, past, the halfway point, probably right when, the end of disc 1 on the original PlayStation happens. That's probably when they're going to start getting you to fork over the cash. But yeah, it was an interesting thing. I don't know really what to think about.
Is it a turn-based RPG, or is it like more action-based?
No, it's like, so the combat is very slow. You don't move around at all. You basically just wait for like this meter to fill up, and the meter, based on how many bars are filled, it's almost like in Final Fantasy VI, Cyan's skill sword thing, where like, you get 4 bars and you could do move number 4, and if you get 5 bars you could do move number 5. You get 6 bars, you do number 6. So like Cure takes 6 bars, Thunder takes 3 bars, your finishing move or whatever they call it takes 5 bars, kind of thing. And then after you get hit a certain amount of time, you can do your limit break. So and you don't move around at all. So there's not much strategy from what I could tell, other than, using weaknesses like Thunder on a weak character or whatever. I didn't get to any of the point where I'm swapping out materia or doing any sort of item management. I don't even know if there is any item management. So it's kind of a weird game.
And that's Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis on
Ever Crisis, right? Okay, yeah, that's what it's called.
And the game you were searching for before, I believe, is Heaven's Vault.
Yes, that is it.
The archaeology game, like the motion comic style, which I had also not heard of.
Oh, okay, cool.
Okay, is that everything?
That's everything for me.
All right. Check us out on youtube.com/game junk. Like, subscribe, leave a comment, and for a chance to win High on Life for Steam. And you can check out Sean at Film Junk on Twitter, Andrew at My Angry Commute and Equilibrium Sys. Discord link is on the YouTube as well. And we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.